Your home should be the comforting, welcoming backdrop that enriches your family. It should serve you and not stress you. But as a busy mom, I am very familiar with how easy it is for a house to become messy and chaotic, and just how much it overwhelms me and hinders my pursuit of present motherhood. I want to share with you my simple tidying routines that have changed the game for me so I can keep my home tidy, my heart light, and show up for my family the best way I know how. Welcome back to the Cottage Friends. I am about to make myself a cup of tea, and then I want to share with you how I have been tackling keeping my house tidy recently, because I've tweaked some things and it's really been changing my life. Okay, so let's chat keeping a tidy house. So a little background, I am a mom of 4. My oldest is 6, my youngest is 1. So we've got several kids close in age and things are chaotic, but I always wanted a bigger family. I wanted that happy chaos. So I am here for the chaos, but I have learned through the years that finding ways to fine tune other areas of life to make them more efficient, to make them more simple, so that it kind of turns down the background chaos really makes a difference in our home life, because I want the happy sibling chaos. Don't necessarily want the messy house, crazy schedule, all of that chaos. So let's talk about how I've been keeping my house tidy recently without losing my mind and being a stress ball about it. And I will say, this is not something that I have always given attention to. This is something that I have really started to look at more closely recently. I am definitely not a type A clean person. I'm also definitely not a slob. I'm kind of a happy medium where some mess can build up and it's not really going to get to me. But I have learned the value in staying more on top of my house and keeping things a little bit more between the rails, because it makes such a difference in the lightness and the joy that I feel in my home, which is my main domain. This is where most of my life and my family's life happens. So I have found that if I can make myself feel lighter and more joyful, I am showing up as a much better wife, as a much more patient, loving, caring mother, as a better business owner, homemaker, all the things. So here's what I've been doing recently. And I want to start with the kitchen, because the kitchen is where most of our life happens. It's also where most of the mess comes from, between the cooking and the eating and the crumbs and just people being here, stuff cluttering up, A lot of you may already know that I am a big fan of the kitchen closing shift. So at the end of the day, everything in the kitchen gets cleaned and reset so that we can start the next day with a fresh, clean slate as far as the kitchen goes. It's something that I prioritize, but I will tell you, it is something that is difficult for me to pull off. And here is what has completely changed everything recently. I have started recently doing a full kitchen reset in the middle of the day, right after lunch, instead of waiting to do it after dinner. Every family is different, so this may not work for you like it does for me, but wow, does it work for me, and it has been such a game changer. So here's why. After lunch, I have so much more energy than I do after dinner. After dinner, I am running on fumes, if I'm being honest, and cleaning the whole kitchen, resetting the whole kitchen feels like an even bigger task than it really is at that time of day. But coupled with that, my kids are also exhausted. It's very close to bedtime. And, I might just have to leave the kitchen as is to just take a kid up to start the bedtime routine because someone's melting down and it's just time to move on. But after lunch, totally different ball game. This is where my kids are most likely to just go and play independently and have fun and keep themselves busy, so I can actually take the 30 minutes to completely reset the kitchen. So I will clear the table from lunch, I will do all of the dishes, I will wipe down all of the countertops, I will completely vacuum the entire floor, I will take any clutter that's hanging around in the kitchen and I will put it back where it belongs. I basically do an entire full kitchen reset, back to baseline in the middle of the day. Now, what's amazing about this is it's much easier for me to do this midday than it is in the evening. Second, we get to actually enjoy a clean kitchen for the majority of the day instead of just kind of letting dishes and clutter and crumbs on countertops kind of build up till dinner time when I'm just gonna clean it all then. And since I have been executing it this way, there has not been a day where I haven't been able to do it. Whereas trying to do it at dinner time, there were days where it didn't happen. Now, obviously, at dinner time, there are still dishes and crumbs and a cooking mess that needs to be cleaned up. But when you're going into it with a pretty pristine kitchen, it simplifies it so much. While I'm cooking dinner, I'm usually trying to do as many dishes as possible and get as much stuff clean and move through the kitchen flow so that we're not doing it after we eat. Even so, we still have those few dishes, which my husband usually does the dishes after dinner. And then all I have to really do is just wipe down the countertops and put stuff like food away. And the kitchen feels super clean. And that's because it is clean, because I cleaned it earlier in the day. So if you struggle with keeping your kitchen tidy and really like keeping it between the rails on a daily basis, maybe give this a try. Running a home and doing it well is certainly no small feat. It takes a lot of energy to do so. And I know as a busy mom that it is so critical for me to take care of myself in all the little small ways so that I can really show up in the big ways. And one of my non-negotiables is a well-crafted supplement regimen. And one of my favorite supplements that has earned a spot in my routine is Element. Element is my absolute favorite electrolyte drink mix. It's so easy. You literally just dump it into your water and it's going to replenish the electrolytes that your body needs. But it has absolutely no added sugar, it has no fillers or colors or really any artificial ingredients. So you get the electrolytes that you need without all of the additives. Electrolytes have so many key roles throughout the body: fluid balance, DNA repair, muscle synthesis, good sleep, energy production, blood sugar control, just to name a few. They are so key throughout so many processes in the body, and they need to be continually replenished, especially now in the summertime. It is hot, we are outside in the heat, and we are sweating, which means we are continually losing even more electrolytes than usual. And Element is just such an easy way to get in those electrolytes that you need, but without all of the added stuff that you don't want. If you guys want to check them out for yourself, Element is offering my viewers a free 8-count sample pack of their most popular drink mix flavors with any purchase. Just go to drinkelement.com/Becca Bristow. That's DRINKLMNT.com/Becca Bristow. So then moving up to the next floor, which has a couple bedrooms and our family room on it. So as far as our bedroom goes, my husband and I, we don't really keep much stuff in there. I have yet to like decorate this room really, so it is fairly sparse. So all I really need to do is make my bed and make sure there's not clutter piling up. I make my bed now at 5 a.m. right when I get out of bed. I used to wait until later in the morning to do this, but I have found that if I just do it the second I get up, it's just done. I don't have to think about it. There's no chance it's not going to get done later. And I also love that my kids just always see my bed made because I'm really getting on them about making their bed. So I want them to see like, okay, well, if mom's doing it, then fine, I'll do it too. And then the only place in our room that kind of collects clutter is on one of our dressers. So you know, I'll just try and grab something when I'm in there throughout the day. I'll just try and grab whatever's off there that doesn't belong there and put it away. As long as the bed is made, there's no like clutter hanging around, our closet doors are closed, that room always looks so tidy with pretty minimal effort. The baby's nursery is on that floor. That's another really sparse room that I haven't even decorated, and it rarely gets messy, so I don't really have to do much there. Then the family room. So the biggest mess that gets created in the family room are the kids' toys. I am big on keeping toys at a minimum. I am not following my own advice right now. I feel like their toys are kind of at an out of control level as far as I am concerned. And I say this because a few years ago when we moved to this house, we packed up all of our kids' toys except for maybe like 5% of them for about 2 weeks before we actually moved. So almost all their toys were gone. And I could not believe how much, one, they didn't even miss them. Two, they played together so much better. There was less fighting. There was so much more imaginative play. Like they don't even really need toys. They made games, their imaginations were exploding out of like random stuff around the house. So I am like more of a minimal toy mom. Again, not taking my own advice right now. I really need to go through and like probably donate a lot of stuff, put a lot of stuff away and rotate it out. But regardless, here I am The toys get all over the family room. My kids play a ton in there, but I want them to be playing throughout the day, and I love that they're playing. So I don't really stress at all about the family room mess until at the end of the day, usually before dinner, we just go through and we just reset the entire room. We put all the toys away, we fold up all the blankets, we put the pillows back, we try and get rid of any clutter that's in there, although that room tends to get a little bit more cluttered than any other room in my house, and I'm not sure why. But we will reset it to a baseline, or at least close to a baseline, every evening, so that when the kids are in bed, my husband and I can just sit in the family room and catch up after a long day in a like clean, calm vibes room. And then moving up to the next floor, which is our kids' rooms. This is another area of the house that does definitely get messy because my kids are playing up there, but I want them to be playing up there. They can be sitting in front of screens and not making a mess, but I would much rather be making a mess and using their imaginations and being creative and playing. So I am all for it again, but I do kind of want to keep it between the rails, like I said. So what we do in the mornings, every morning we go upstairs, it's just part of the routine. We get dressed, we brush our teeth, the girls make their beds. I make my son's crib because he's not quite at that stage yet, but all the beds are made, and then I just have them do like a quick tidy. So basically if there's any toys laying on the floor, we just put them away. The toys go back wherever they belong in those rooms, or the books or whatever, just so that the floor is clean and the beds are made, and that's good enough for me. And as long as we're doing that on like a daily, or at least mostly daily basis, it doesn't become insane up there. It just kind of, again, keeps it in check, keeps it tidy. Every once in a while, I do need to go up there, and especially my girls' closet, because they have all kinds of stuff in there, they'll play in there, and I need to go through and like reorganize that and kind of get that back to baseline, but that's not something I worry about on a daily basis. And then another thing I like to do is declutter once a week something. This doesn't happen every week, but the goal is to do it weekly, and I try and schedule it. So I know on this day, I'll have 30 minutes to tackle something, because at least when I know there are areas of the house that really need my attention as far as decluttering goes, it's less overwhelming when I know I'm like, at least I have 30 minutes to tackle something at this point, and I can just not really think about it or stress about it until then. Because the reality of this stage of life is I don't have a lot of time to just be like decluttering alone and spending that kind of time. I just don't have it. But I can carve out a little here and there. So this past week I tackled our mostly craft closet, which is right behind me actually in the dining area. And this closet always looks like an absolute bomb went off. And that's because it's all my kids' crafts, and they are the ones taking them out and putting them away. Now, I do not stress, or at least I try not to let this closet get to me, because I love that they sit down and craft. Literally not a day goes by that they don't pull out paper and coloring books and markers and whatever, scissors and whatever else, and they just create stuff here at this table, and I love that. In fact, when I was going through and decluttering it and I was pulling stuff out, they just immediately started grabbing stuff and drawing it because they're like, oh, I haven't seen that in a while. So they do this every day, and I fully back that. I want them to be doing it, so I try not to let this insane, messy closet get to me, but every once in a while, it's gotta get reset. So I went through, we took out all of their artwork, and we kind of went through and we're like, okay, what are we gonna keep? What are we gonna toss? And we really got like our saved artwork down to a much smaller pile, so it was less overwhelming. And then we just, basically cleaned everything up. We took everything out, we reorganized it, we put it back in. Now everything is clean, it's tidy, it's so much easier to see. We have inventory of everything, and it makes it a lot easier for the kids to actually find stuff. And then of course it's easier on me. Every time I'm looking at that closet, I'm not like, eye twitching. So that's basically my secret. That is what has really been working for me recently. It's very simple. It's just resetting all the spaces back to baseline. But I think the time of day in which you actually schedule that or tackle that makes a huge difference in one, how easy it is, and two, how consistent you can be with it. So if you were kind of struggling with this, look at your day and figure out the little pockets of time where it makes sense to reset something or straighten something up. And it might not all be at the same time, mine certainly isn't, but at least by resetting these areas, you are going to kind of keep it between the rails if that's what you want to do. There's not necessarily anything wrong with a messy house, but I can tell you it makes such a difference in my mental state, and like I said, that joy and that lightness that I feel in my home. And I know that it affects my family as well. I just kind of started to think about it, how like I like to get myself ready and feel presentable every day. I just kind of extrapolated that to my house as well. So like if someone were to walk in, it's not going to be perfectly clean, but it's also not going to be a complete chaotic mess, which is a change that I know I've really needed to make recently. And I think there's so many benefits to putting your attention on this if you can or if you want to, and it really has made such a difference in my home. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you are new, I would absolutely love for you to subscribe, join my little community here on YouTube, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.